what's up? In this video I'm going to be addressing the topic of how safe Bangladesh is. So I'm going to begin with probably the biggest concern that you might have as a traveller visiting Bangladesh, and that's being targeted as a foreigner, perhaps. So there aren't many tourists there, and when you're walking down the street, say you're a white person or you're obviously from a different country, you believe that people are going to target you because they think, oh wow, there's finally a foreigner here, I can steal his wallet or something. And actually that is completely far from reality. In fact, I've experienced in my 2 months in the country that people tend to avoid making problems for you as you're a foreigner. There are constantly people on the streets that are looking out for you. All the shopkeepers, all of the drivers, there's usually guards or police, there's always people around. And when you're walking down the street and say you're on your phone, you're just looking for the next place you want to head to, you're obviously a tourist, you've got a bag on your back, and all these people you'll find, if you look up from your phone, are looking at you, and they're looking at you to check that you're okay. If anybody comes up to you and starts causing you any problems, I can guarantee you within seconds there'd be like 2 or 3 guys coming over and being like, what's the problem? Can we help you? Is this guy bothering you? Every single person is actually looking to assist you and not cause you any grievance. People are afraid to target foreigners because they know that when they get caught, they're in big trouble. Like, all the people looking out for you are suddenly going to go for the person that tries to steal your wallet, that tries to cause you harm, and they're going to get a really bad punishment from the police service or whatever it is. So actually, people are looking to help you. They're actively looking to help you. When I walk down the street, pretty much everywhere I went, people are constantly, hello, where are you from? How are you? And they're not trying to get anything from me. They're just genuinely interested to ask. And then they say, can I help you? Where are you going? What can I do for you? Would you like to come in for a cup of tea? Let's talk. Like, they just want to say hello. They just want to be friendly. They're just so happy that you decided to visit their country. And there's always an uncle, a Bangladeshi uncle, who's there to help you. So perhaps level with that concern for a foreigner or a Westerner is the preconception that Bangladesh has a risk of terrorism just because it's a majority Muslim country, which is just a modern day piece of westernized media propaganda that, many news sources have set up this narrative about a lot of Asian countries or even some Eastern African countries, that just because it's a Muslim country, there are ISIS active in the country. I mean, to be honest, there's been one attack in Bangladesh over the last couple of years, which was obviously extremely unfortunate. But if you look at Germany, if you look at France, if you look at the UK, Belgium, all have had attacks, and multiple attacks, in the last couple of years. In the USA, for example, are you really safe in Florida when you walk around? Are you really safe in one of the southern states? Is somebody gonna walk around and shoot you with one of the guns that are legal? I mean, being realistic, one attack in a country of 160 million people in the last couple of years in one specific place in Dhaka is absolutely nothing. And there are attacks and incidents that go on across the world. If you travel a lot, the more you'll realize that terrorism is something that you'll almost never see. You're more likely to get injured in a car crash. You're more likely to get some weird bug or something and get ill and die from that. I mean, seriously, the risks of terrorism are so low. Like, when it does happen, only a fraction of a percentage of people are affected. So just because Bangladesh is a Muslim country doesn't mean anything. In fact, the people I found are more friendly because of their religion. In Bangladesh, the guest is God. Everybody treats you like a god. Every family I stayed with everyone who invited me for cups of tea. As you can see in my videos, maybe it came across, but off the camera too. I mean, if I didn't go 20 minutes without food in some places, they're like, are you hungry? Do you want any more sweets? Can we give you some more tea? Do you have enough water? Do you know what you're going to do? Do you need some rest? I mean, it's relentless. Like, they will hospitality you to death in Bangladesh. Trust me, it's the best country I've ever visited for the hospitality, which is saying something. I've visited 28 countries now, and I mean, there's nowhere else like Bangladesh. The people are so friendly, and maybe that's because the tourism hasn't developed as much, but they are so happy and so content. So what about the food and the hygiene? Okay, so for me, across the 2 months, I got sick just once, and that wasn't vomiting. That was like slightly uncomfortable stomach, and I had to go to the toilet maybe 8 to 10 times in one day, and things were pretty loose. But it lasted just 24 hours. I took some saline, and I ate some bananas, some rice, and some things that will sit really well in your stomach. And if you can do that, your shaky bowel movements are going to pass really quickly. And as you saw in my videos, I was eating in super local places. I got stuck into the street food. I didn't care. I was eating with my hands. I was getting involved. I psychologically wasn't thinking about getting sick. And I believe that the mental aspect is quite a big one. If you think, oh, I'm not sure about this. I don't know if I should eat this. This looks dirty. Like, if you just eat it and you assume that it's going to be good and it's all fine, trust me, 95% of the time you're going to be fine. It's almost like this kind of not afraid to dip your toes in the water kind of attitude will kind of psychologically set you up to be like, oh, is that my stomach going? Or do I need to go to the toilet? Doubting yourself will make it worse. So just be aware, 2 months, I was sick just once, and it wasn't that bad, and it went very quickly. Comparatively, in India, I was there for the same amount of time, 2 months. I got sick 3 times, and all 3 of those times were worse and lasted longer than the occasion in Bangladesh. So, and in India was my first trip to the subcontinent, and if anything, I was more careful there. So basically that tells you that, you know, you just don't really know. Of course, it's not as clean as Western countries or the first world, but if you listen to a couple of these tips, go to busy local places. Trust me, the food is going to be fresh. If the place is busy, you know the food that they're cooking is on repeat, and the guys have just made it and brought it to your plate. It's not been sitting there for hours. In fact, going to a local place that's really busy is 10 times more safe than going to a good, nice, modern restaurant with nobody inside and some nice air conditioning. Because that food, they're just going to stick from their fridge, or they're going to put it in a microwave, or they're just going to reheat something and give it to you, because they don't have to make the whole dish again. Because when they make the whole dish, they give it out like 10 times for 10 different orders of the same one. You understand? So in that case, stick to busy places. And of course, you know, if you're in doubt, you can stick to veg food. Maybe because I'm vegetarian, I had a better experience, but I was also vegetarian in India, and I got sick 3 times. So it really depends on what you eat. Of course, the meat might be more likely to set you off, but you know, just use the common sense, sanitize your hands, wash your hands before you eat and after you eat. Don't be afraid, and enjoy it. So the next thing I could talk about that you might have a concern for is perhaps pollution in Dhaka, the most densely populated city in the world, as I keep saying in all my videos, because it's a great fact. Is also probably one of the most polluted cities in the world, I believe. But actually, having been there, I spent in total something like 3 weeks in Dhaka. So I was constantly going to a different place in Bangladesh and then returning to Dhaka, as it's like the central hub. So you go to Sylhet, you come back. You go to Chittagong, Cox's Bazar, you come back. You go to Khulna, you come back. You go to the north, you come back. Because it's like the central travel hub. All the trains and buses are connected right from the heart of the country in Bangladesh, in Dhaka. So you're going to be in there for a long period of time if you're traveling the country fairly extensively. And so yeah, the pollution is something you can obviously be aware of, but don't let it be something to stop you from visiting. Being a traveler, you're only going to be in Dakar for a couple of days, you know, weeks if maximum. You're not there for the long term, and so it's not going to do you any long-term damage. You don't have to worry about that. I mean, of course, if you already have any pre-existing, you know, problems with your lungs, or, you know, something that the pollution might affect, then take it into account before you visit. But as a rule of thumb, don't let the pollution stop you. You're probably gonna return back to wherever you live where the pollution is low, and that's your normal lifestyle, and that normal consistent lifestyle is gonna affect how your health is, and not just for a quick trip to Bangladesh. So really don't let pollution affect you on a one occasion trip. Of course, if you're someone who's Bangladeshi watching this and you live in Bangladesh and you live in Dhaka and it's polluted and you're going through that every single day, then of course it's a different story for you guys, and that's up to you to decide whether you want to wear a PM 2.5 mask or whatever kind of action you want to take. But yeah, it's a polluted city, I have to say, but it's not gonna kill you from one trip. So I suppose the final thing I should address for this video on how safe things are in Bangladesh should be my own experience from 2 months. And just to say that I traveled around, often by myself. I stayed with people, but going from A to B, I was always by myself for the most part. And I was always such a target everywhere I went. And in 2 months, nobody caused me any trouble. I can't think of a single incident where I felt uncomfortable or I felt something went wrong. I mean, there's like, something that comes to mind is one of the buses I took, a tire got a puncture, and that was it. So the whole bus like had to stop, and it sounded like someone shot the tire for about 2 seconds, and the driver stopped, we all got out, they changed the tire, we got back in. I mean, like really minor things like that. I mean, I can't think of a time where somebody came up to me and threatened me, or somebody actually attempted to steal my things, or I was, you know, stuck in something or got some horrible accident. Like, none of this kind of thing happened, like everywhere. Even the local areas completely outside of the city, which you might regard to be more sketchy, the guys who are paddling and operating your boats, you're relying on them with your life, you know, sometimes. They are so handy. They know how to work the boats better than anybody. They are experts. The guys looking after you, the local people, they are experts in what they do. So don't worry, you're gonna be okay. Just be cautious, you know, don't go swimming if you can't swim that well in one of the deep rivers or something like that, or, you know, don't attempt to do something that's beyond you. But apart from that, just use your common sense, the same things that you would do in any other country, and you're gonna be completely fine. I would say one thing that sticks out for me is maybe the road safety. Taking a bus on the road is a little crazy sometimes. The drivers, they like to overtake, and there's only like 2 lanes, one lane on each side of the road, so one going this way, one coming this way. And so, you know, there's often some quite close calls when 2 buses go past each other. But actually the drivers are really controlled, and it's the same with the rickshaws in the cities, same with the CNGs. They're constantly getting really close to other parts of the traffic, and as I described in my last video, the CNGs are like little green crabs. They kind of weave through in the cities like this, and often they never touch. I rarely saw, like maybe once or twice in the whole time in Bangladesh, in all the busy traffic and all the craziness, did I ever see like 2 vehicles actually clip each other. All the drivers, they have this instinct, they know they're not going to touch this or that. And actually the driving for us Westerners, it seems crazy, they may honk a lot and stuff, but the honking is like an insurance to tell you, yeah, I'm coming, we're not going to hit each other. And often nothing actually happens. Tourists will feel like, oh, I feel like there's going to be an accident, but you know what, there never really is. And, you'll find that everything will be okay at the end of your trip. So yeah, in general for me, in 2 months I didn't experience anything, to be honest. The most stressful thing I had to do was renew my visa in that terrible visa office and that's it. So yeah, I hope this cleared some things up about Bangladesh. I understand that people still may be skeptical to visit after this video, but I hope this helps in some way. It's completely raw, and if you are brave enough to visit the country, you're going to have a unique experience that no other travelers are going to get in many other countries. You know, people who go to Thailand or Southeast Asia, you know, you're just going to be with many numbers of people getting the same kind of experience. If you want something different, then Bangladesh is for you. Thank you very much for watching. And this is my final Bangladesh video for good. These are 2 vlogs I've just made to quickly address how expensive things are and how safe things are. And yeah, hopefully I'll be back one day, and I'll leave with good memories. And the people of Bangladesh really touched my heart. Friendliest people I've ever met, most hospitable country I've ever visited. And I'll leave it with that. So, Joy Bangla. Thank you very much. Bye.